Hello students, so let us proceed with the story, A Gift of Chappals. We started the section 2 in our previous session. In that section, we came upon Lalli and her violin master. Both of them were playing violin. While the violin master was playing very perfectly, very smoothly, Lalli was struggling with her bowstring. She was not able to play proper music with her violin. Okay, and her cousins were peeking at them from the window. We would be starting from the second paragraph of section 2, page number 22, towards the end. Okay, so follow the book as I read. He played a few notes. Lalli stumbled behind him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. So I already like this writer. She has a very fluid writing style and a very friendly note in which she is telling, as if she is just sitting beside us and giving us a good story, right? So she has a humorous undertone. So this violin master was playing a few notes so that Lalli doesn't have much problem in catching up. But Lalli was not able to do even that. She was not able to imitate the music master's note. Okay. Lalli stumbled behind him on her violin. Stumbled behind him. Stumble is a word which we normally use for walk. Okay, while you are walking, if you stumble, if you are not able to walk properly, you stumble, right? We say stumble. Here, stumble means to move in a jerky fashion. She was not able to play in a proper way. She was playing in a jerky fashion. And the violin looked quite helpless in her hands. She was playing the violin and it seemed as if the violin was feeling helpless because Lalli didn't know what to do with it. She had no idea how to make proper music come from the violin. What a difference! It is the contrast between the sound of the violin played by the music master and that played by Lalli was so different. It was such a huge contrast. It was a big contrast. It was just the opposite thing. He was playing perfect music while she was just playing a noise. The music master's notes seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of a train, fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along, as Ravi said. Mridu stared at that huge, bee-ringed hand, moving effortlessly up the violin's stem, making lovely music. So this is the charm of a good musician. A person who plays good music, when we listen to them, it's like perfect sound is coming out from his violin and we get carried away. This perfect person, this perfect musician or the violin master was also giving out such a lovely music from his violin that all the children were mesmerized with it. Okay, it was like his notes means musical notes. Okay, the music that he was playing, it seemed to float up and settle perfectly. It seemed as if it was as smooth as that of flowing water, and it was settling perfectly to the sound. Okay, his music notes were so beautiful. And the comparison which the author makes is that comparison of railway tracks and the wheels of the train. How they fit perfectly into the railway track, and when they move, there is that smooth whizzing sound. Same sound was coming out from the music of the violin master. So in this entire paragraph, we just understand that what is the main point of the paragraph, that the music teacher was a great music player. He was a great violin player, but Lalli was not able to catch up at all. Okay, she was not able to make any progress. Squawk! There was Lalli derailing again. Derailing. This word is again bringing out the same comparison as the sound of the that train tracks. The comparison which was made in the previous paragraph, how the violin master's sound seemed to fit properly into the music notes, and it was compared with the wheels of the train fitting on the railway tracks. Same comparison is taken here also, but in a demeaning fashion, when Lalli derailing again. Lalli derailing again means Lalli was holding the bowstring and she was holding the violin, and suddenly, as she was trying to play catch up to him, her bowstring derailed from the violin. That means it went away, and then there was that squawk sound. Okay, very irritating sound which came because of that. Now, second incident of the story happens. Amma, came a wail from the gate. Amma, oh. Okay. Someone was calling Amma. Amma is, obviously you can understand, mom, that means mom, mother. Okay. Amma, mother. Somebody was wailing from the front gate. And we will come to know that it's the wail of a beggar. Wail means in a moaning fashion. You have by now observed many beggars who beg for alms, for some money, for some charity from people. And when they come to your house, their sound becomes very moaning-like, mournful. Okay, I'm not criticizing that sound at all. I'm just telling you this is the fact. Okay, how they have a mournful sound. So he was also having a sound like that. It seemed as if he was crying. So he was crying and calling them so that he could get some alms, that is, some money or some food from their house. Ravi, send that beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda, where she was chatting with Tapi. Tapi, who was Tapi? Tapi was the grandmother of Mridu, who had accompanied Mridu to Rukkumani's house. So Rukkumani and Tapi were chatting in the back veranda of their house, and they heard the sound of the beggar, and so she asked Ravi to tell the beggar that no, you will not get anything from this house today. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from, Pati explained to Tapi. So Pati, Tapi and Rukkumani, all of them were in the back veranda talking, and she was just, Pati was just explaining to Tapi that you don't know how this beggar is. He has just been coming to our house only. He has been coming here all day of the week, and he has been taking from us every day. So it's time that he finds another person or another house from where he gets his money or food. Okay. So this is how they are complaining among each other, and they are just rejecting the beggar. This is very much common. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. So the beggar was already inside the garden of their house, and he was making himself comfortable. Making himself quite at home means making himself comfortable in the garden. How? He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree. The upper body cloth which he had wrapped on himself, he had spread it on the ground under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze while he waited for the arms to appear. To take a little snooze means to take a little nap. Okay, so he was preparing to sleep for a little while, just to rest himself, to take rest before the alms arrived. Alms means the charity. It can come in the form of food or it can come in the form of money. Go away, said Ravi sternly. My Pati says it's time you found another house to beg from. So Ravi is a determined child. He is a strict child and he is following the orders of the adults. He is telling the beggar, go away. My Pati says that It's time you found another house to beg from. Go and find some other place. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. So he opened his eyes in a big, different kind of fashion, and he was looking at each of the children, observing them. The ladies of this house are very kind souls. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for 1 week. That is, I have depended on their kindness for 1 week, and because of them, I am still alive. I cannot believe that they would turn me away. I cannot believe that they changed their mind or they changed their character, and today they are turning me away. He raised his voice. Again he started calling them. Okay, Amma, Amma, oh. Sad his wail might be, but it certainly wasn't feeble. Okay, his wail, his crying, his moaning was very sad. Okay, it was filled as if he was close to tears. He might start crying anytime, but it was not feeble. That means he still had a strong voice. Okay, his voice was still strong. It began in a deep, strong rumble somewhere in his withered belly and came booming out of his mouth. Rumble in his belly. That means the sound was as if produced in his belly. Means a bit of groaning sound was coming from inside his body, and then a deep, loud wail sound was coming out of his mouth. With its few remaining teeth stained brown with beetle chewing. With his few remaining teeth. That means that the beggar didn't have all his teeth. He was probably an old man, and whatever teeth were remaining in his mouth, they were stained brown, probably by chewing beetle leaf. Okay, pan leaf. Ravi, tell him there's nothing left in the kitchen, called Rukumani. And he's not to come again. Tell him that. She sounded fed up. Okay, she was fed up with the beggar, and she shouted in a loud manner that Ravi, tell the beggar that there's no food left in the kitchen and that he shouldn't come here again. Ravi didn't have to repeat it all to the beggar. What his mother said had been easy for them all to hear there under the neem tree. That is, the beggar also heard it. Everybody heard whatever his mother said. The beggar sat up and sighed. Okay, he gave out a long sigh. He probably understood that he was not getting anything from their house on that day. I'll go, he said wearily. Wearily means tiredly, in an exhausted fashion. Okay. Only let me have a rest under this tree. The sun is so hot, the tar has melted on the road. It is so hot outside, the tar. You know what tar is, right? Tar is that black, very thick, black pitch which is molten and the molten tar is used to make roads. Okay, that is tar. Now that tar has melted and my feet has already blistered. My feet are already blistered because of the hot street. The tar of the street has melted and it's so hot outside. The pitch is so hot outside that my feet have already blistered. These blisters have formed, little boils have formed underneath my feet. He stretched out his feet to show large pink peeling blisters on the sole of his bare feet. So he didn't have any chappal. Okay, he couldn't afford to buy any pair of shoes for himself. So his feet were blistered under the hot sun. I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy chappals, Mridu whispered to Meena and Ravi. So Mridu was a kind girl. Okay, she probably feels a bit of pity for the beggar. So she tells Meena and Ravi that probably he doesn't have any money to buy chappals. Have you got an old pair in the house somewhere? That is, do you have an old pair of chappals? I don't know, said Ravi. Mine are too small to fit his feet, or I'd have given them to him. Mine are so small that he cannot wear it. Obviously, he's a boy. He's a little boy. How can his chappal fit that old beggar? and his feet were larger than Mridu's and Meena's, which meant that Mridu's chappals and Meena's chappals, neither of their chappals would fit the beggar. The beggar was shaking out his upper cloth and tightening his dhoti. Okay, so he was fixing his dress. He was probably preparing to leave the place. He raised his eyes and looked fearfully at the road gleaming in the afternoon heat. He was feeling afraid to step out into the road again because it was so hot and the road was gleaming in the heat. His feet will again get blisters. So he was afraid to step out. He needs something on his feet, Meena said, her big eyes filling. Filling means filling with water. So she was also a sympathetic girl. She felt unhappy looking at the